Ironman is notoriously difficult to start off and make money on. That's why today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best Ironman money making methods that you can do when you're starting off on a new profile. Of course, on an Ironman profile, luxuries like the auction house and the bazaar combined offer no more than a booster cookie. In a world where selling to NPCs is realistically the only way you can make coins. On a profile where options are very limited, you've got to make the most of what you've got. First of all, we start off with a method that probably has the lowest requirement out of everything, and that is farming. Ideally not in the hub, but you've got to start somewhere. Progressing throughout the garden, farming as many crops as you possibly can, it's probably one of the best things you can do when starting a profile. It's no secret that farming with higher end farming armor and equipment can make you a lot of coins. Of course, the amount of coins you can make from farming mainly depends on your farming fortune and efficiency. A simple setup with an advanced gardening hoe, maybe farmer's boots, a lantern helmet, and 2 pieces of farm armor, maybe a few pieces of Lotus equipment, is only enough to get you up to a measly 261 farming fortune. Is it even worth farming with such little fortune? Well, I guess we can give it a try. Well, I farmed a pretty basic crop bean potato for 5 minutes, and in those 5 minutes we're gonna make around about, let's see, around about 73 or 74k. Times that by 12 and that's 887k per hour. You have to bear in mind that my farming level isn't amazing, it's farming level 23, and like I said before, my farming fortune is 261. Is it worth farming for money at the beginning of a profile, especially when it's Ironman? You tell me. Of course you have to consider that, well, there is 7 people in this co-op and we have to share one personal compactor and somebody's already using it, so obviously in between you've got to craft everything into enchanted so your inventory doesn't fill up. There's a lot you have to consider. Before we get into any of the other methods, remember to use code NITROS on the Hypixel store on anything for 5% off. Also, you should subscribe to the channel, become part of the 24%, there's no reason not to. We're around 1,000 subscribers away from 50k, so every subscriber would help. Also, you should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of every single video. Okay, on to the next method, and this method you can only do once, but you can earn a substantial amount of coins that can set you up for the rest of the profile. Now what you see here is a massive cobblestone generator, and at each end there's a teleport pad. At the moment you can see Bake, someone else who's on the Ironman co-op, who's currently grinding cobblestone. But you might be thinking, well, why is he grinding cobblestone? Well, for those of you who don't know, I basically started a new Ironman series, I guess you could call it, 2 or 3 days ago. It's basically a Mega Co-op Ironman, and in that video I showcase this method, so if you've not already watched that video, I recommend you go back and watch it because it is pretty cool. But essentially, the method is centered around rock pet milestones. Basically, if you can mine 250,000 ores, you can earn around about 13 to 14 million coins. Now, cobblestone is classed as an ore. So if you were to build yourself one of these contraptions, get yourself a stonk and a set of mineral armor, then within around about 3 to 4 hours with pretty much no effort at all, I basically just ran in a straight line. I didn't have a super compactor at the time, so I did have to craft the enchanted cobble. I just watched The Office for about 3 hours and obviously I have 2 monitors, I just monitored both screens. In about 3 or 4 hours, I made myself about 14 million coins, which is really quite nice. That sets you up for a booster cookie, probably 2 to be honest. From there you can buy yourself a god pot and progression is much easier. For those of you who don't know, if you come over to the hub and you come to this building here, go upstairs and you'll come to this NPC called George. Basically, if you put the pet into this little slot here, George will give you coins for the pet. For the legendary rock you'll get 10 million coins, for the epic you'll get 2.5, for the rare you'll get 500k, and honestly I can't really remember what you get for the uncommon. And you might be thinking, well, what if you want a rock pet in the future, how about pet score and all of that? Well, I've kept the common rock. If I really wanted to use a legendary rock in the future, or just a rock pet in general, and I wanted to upgrade it, well, you can come over to Cat, and you can upgrade it to legendary yourself. So, yeah, it might take a little bit of time to get it back, but, you know, short term, at the beginning of a profile, I think it's a no-brainer. Now moving on to what I think is probably the best Ironman money making method, early game for sure, and that will be grinding end nodes. Essentially in the end they're these like blocks of particles coming from them, and ideally you want this right here. And what that actually happened there was endermites spawned, and from the endermites you get mite gel. If you go to an NPC, you can sell each mite gel for 2,000 coins. As you can see there from that one block alone, I just got 12k, and obviously that took about, what, seconds. Now the great thing is say for instance you mine these lucky blocks here, sorry, the end nodes, you kill everything that comes out of it. Of course you get the chance of other drops like Titanic XP bottles, also pieces of equipment if you don't already have it, but you can also grind these Endermen in between. And these Endermen, well, given the fact that I have no armor on, that's probably not helping. But these Endermen can drop pieces of armor. And it happens quite frequently, not only pieces of armor but also pieces of equipment. Now if we can actually drop one here like we have here, we've dropped an Ender helmet and an Ender gauntlet. If we were to go to the NPC, these also sell for 10k each. So you can see how you can make a lot of coins. Now when you do mine the end nodes, of course there is an aspect of RNG to, number one, how many Endermites spawn, if Endermites even spawn, and so on. Honestly, I would say the easiest way to kill these Endermites is with an aspect of the dragons, and of course that requires a little bit of grinding in terms of zealots, and getting lucky in terms of dragons. But it's not essential, it probably just speeds up the process a little bit. Now I would recommend doing this method when you already have a god pot. Just purely because, of course, that increases your magic find a lot, which makes it much more profitable in terms of killing these Endermen for pieces of armor. Of course, not only the Might Gel is going to make you coins, the actual killing the Endermen and grinding everything that you get from them is also going to make you a lot of coins too. In the 2 or 3 minutes that I've been explaining, I've made, what's that, 28k from the Might Gel, 10k, 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 10k. So what's that, maybe about 70k, and I've not really been doing it efficiently considering I've been explaining what to actually do. Like I said, you can also get things like Grand Experience bottles, which, you know, are very useful when you're actually wanting to enchant something or do your experiments. Okay, so we did a little 5-minute test. We ended up getting 36 Might Gel. We actually got really quite unlucky with the amount of armor pieces we got, but we're still going to make a decent amount of coins. So we made 72k in Might Gel, and then we're just going to go ahead and sell everything else. You know, I wouldn't usually sell everything. I would probably sell the armor pieces and the equipment and the Might Gel. But I just want to see how much we're actually going to make in total. And that's going to be 147k. We can go ahead and times that by 12 to get our hourly rate, which is around about 1.76 million. Obviously, substantially better than farming. What I will say is when you are farming for the ender nodes, I'd say most of the time you should focus just on the ender nodes and then in between kill the enderman. Don't focus the enderman, but definitely focus the ender nodes. It also has to be said that I probably wasn't doing it 100% efficiently, and my luck wasn't the greatest. So I really do think you could probably make closer to 200k per 5 minutes, which could probably take you between 2 to 2.5 million coins per hour. Now, the next money making method is going to require us to have the Dwarven mines unlocked. So you're going to need to be at least mining 12, and you're going to have to have collected the materials and actually gained access. From here, if you head over towards where the glaciites are, you'll need to go down here near the bridge, straight on, and then across the next bridge in the distance. Once you get to the Ice Walkers, you need to take a right and you'll find the goblins. And the idea is that you just simply kill the goblins non-stop. I mean, that's the money making method. Occasionally when you kill a goblin, they'll drop coins, and that value will be between, from my knowledge, around about 0 to 10k. Once again here, we are relying quite a bit on, well, RNG. But eventually, if we get lucky, which we're not at the moment, we should find that they'll begin to drop coins. Once again, there we go. 6.7k. Like I said, the method is simple. We simply just kill these goblins. From my experience, it's probably not going to be as good as grinding end nodes. It might be somewhere on par with farming, or maybe even slightly worse. But it's definitely a valid money-making method, and we're going to test it out now. Right, well, I've got to say, we got really extremely unlucky, but that's the reality. Like, when you're killing goblins, you're not always going to make a guaranteed amount of money because it is complete and utter RNG. From the goblins alone, we made about 51k. We got 2 pieces of armor, so that's going to add an extra 3k onto it. Goblin eggs add another 2k. That means that an average hourly rate that we would get from that is around about 640k. I almost said million, that would have been insane. Yeah, about 640k. Granted, if you get luckier, you could probably make close to a million. If you get, you know, even less lucky, you could probably make as little as 500k. I wouldn't 100% recommend this method, considering if you've got to the Dwarven mines, then the odds are you could probably also be in the end. I'd recommend just grinding so that you can grind in the end, and then just do end nodes because they are superior in terms of a money-making method like that. Plus, you're going to get combat XP a lot quicker in the end as well. But anyway, hopefully some of these methods will help you out, you know, when starting a new Ironman profile. It's not easy. But this is going to be the end of the video. I hope you all have enjoyed. If you have, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.